overused or not overused, and it's fresh and it's good. So if they do make a second season, I'd imagine it'd be taking a while. But anyway, I don't really have a favorite episode. I kind of liked, besides the school one because school uniforms, but I do remember this one scene near the end where one of the prim and proper girls actually starts swearing, which is pretty funny. But yeah, the show was pretty good. Had some funny language in it, but has a pretty interesting twist at the end. Everyone dies. Not just kidding. You'll have to watch it to find out, though. And lastly, AJ and I have been watching Saint Seiya. If you couldn't understand my singing, I said Saint Seiya. I got the first collection series because I kind of wanted to watch the original, and I wanted to watch the actual uncut dub because uncut dub. So, and I also wanted to have access to the Japanese version. Just if I wanted to, like, if the dub was just that bad, I would just watch the Japanese version. It is a Toei anime, so an old 90s or 80s Toei anime, so the audio quality is not perfect, but you can still hear it. Once you watch an episode or two, you get used to it fairly quickly, but it's only temporary, so keep that in mind. I was without a computer for a little bit, so it's like, okay, what am I gonna do? It's like, oh fuck it, I'll just watch Saint Seiya, because I remember Nick, AJ, and I watched the first episode. Nick didn't like it, AJ didn't like it, and I figured, okay, well, I'll just watch it by myself. And then, literally, when we got to the second episode, it picked up. That was so funny. We only gave it one episode. That was probably a mistake on our part, but, second episode, it actually kind of got plot to it. That was kind of like the main complaint with them, and so I roped AJ into watching it, and he actually likes it, I think, so far. That may be because Vic Mignogna's in it, and he has a little crush on Vic Mignogna, but that's a different story. As for me, I'm really enjoying it. I like it. It is an old dub, so it does suffer from some name pronunciation. Really only Sayori instead of Saori. And it sounds like they're saying Shiru instead of Shiryu. And I think they're saying Shunri instead of Shunrei. So, the only one that really kind of... Sayori is one of those things where it's at least consistent and it makes sense for the time, so I'm not really complaining. But Shiru just bothered. Why are they saying Shiru? There's a Y there. And one character actually says Shiryu, in the second season, in the second collection, because I've got both collections. And I am aware that this is a series that the dub didn't finish, but the movies are coming out, so I plan on getting those. So yeah, as far as complaints go, that's really in, Pegasus Ryusei, can't they say Meteor of Pegasus? I would have gone with Pegasus Meteor Fist, which is what they do in everything else, from what I understand, but that's a different thing entirely. As far as the show itself, I don't really like how a lot of the characters are a lot of the good guys are like underdogs, and they keep getting disadvantages that keep them from having a good chance of winning, but they win anyway. It's not like a plot kind of thing. From all I've seen, haven't seen everything is at least I feel like the characters win fairly, and everything that kind of just randomly happens, or that would be the case in a lot of these shonen shows. It's been established, the scene where Seiya actually dons the Sagittarius cloth. It was pretty obvious that he would be the one, that he was chosen to be the one to wear it. It was pretty obvious. Some might argue that it was plot convenience, but I honestly don't, because of the fact that it's been established that he was going to eventually wear it. It'd be like if they said, oh, Goku's going to go, if Goku's been the chosen Super Saiyan, and he didn't go Super Saiyan for a while, till Frieza. It's like that, really. You, either based on, tropes, that, the main character always gets the Coolio transformation before everyone else, or, some sort of legend that happens, and it's been, and it's either in question or it's been established in some way, even if they don't outright say it. But the dub also has some pretty funny lines, like, "Shut up, Seiya," and one instance where someone's like, "Shut up, Seiya," and then Seiya's literally like, "You shut up," which sounds like an outtake that they just left in. But it's hard to say. Seiya is definitely the underdog. It's weird. Like, he's the underdog, yet it almost seems like he comes off as the strongest of the Bronze Saints. Because he does well against his fights, but when he's, like, fighting other characters, like, he gets beaten up a lot. But these are pretty strong people, like, and they have some interesting ways of curing things, like, in order to bring Shiryu back to life, spoilers, Seiya has to punch him in the back in order to get rid of any poison inside Seiya's body. Shiryu starts poking him, like literally stabbing him with his 2 fingers to drain all the evil blood. And it's funny because his skin turns all black and he's like, "Oh, he looks awful." English dub, like, acting wise, it's fine. This is that example, but this show also is the example that I was talking about, where they speed up the lip flaps to match what the actors are saying, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But this is definitely a dub that shows a little bit of age, but of course after you've watched like 30 plus episodes, then you kind of get used to it. So yeah, don't really like how Seiya's the underdog, and I've already mentioned that, but just mentioning again, he does kind of win in some cool ways. Like his first fight against another Saint, I'd like to think that he beats him just by sheer willpower. He's getting strangled and he passes out, but like he's still alive, and like he breaks the other guys, the other Saints' gauntlets, and is able to beat him. Which I think is pretty cool. Plus, I didn't really like that guy. He's Bear Geki, and I didn't really like him because he went around choking bears, and I don't like seeing animals get hurt, even if they are big animals like bears who could definitely defend themselves. For the most part, I'm sorry, but for the most part, animals don't do jack shit. It's really people who bother them, but that's a different subject for a different time in a different place. Like I said, I am aware that the dub is unfinished, and I am really hoping that it gets finished, because this is Saint Seiya is quickly becoming one of my favorite anime franchises. Like, I don't know where I'd put it, maybe second or third place. I'm not really sure. I'd have to think about it. But yeah, it's definitely a good. At least the original is good. Like, I've seen Lost Canvas, which was okay. Saint Seiya Omega's doing pretty good. And haven't seen the OVAs or the movies, but I'm gonna watch the movies when they come out. Thank you, Discotheque. Yeah, the movies are actually being released in America, subtitled, but in America. The first 4, at least. I don't know about the new one. So yeah, I'm personally enjoying the show, and AJ's enjoying it, I think, too. And we are probably gonna keep watching it as much as we can. But that's pretty much it for anime. I guess I'll go into games now. Actually, speaking of Saint Seiya, I recently got a new game for my PS2 called Saint Seiya the Hades, a Saint Seiya fighting game. I didn't want to go into this blindly because it was an import, and it is a game I've never played before, so even if it wasn't an import, it would still be... Anyway, I didn't want to go into it blindly, so I looked up a video to see how it was, and, that only taught me so much. So I torrented the Japanese version, and yes, if you're wondering, this game is available in English. It came out in Europe, so it is in English if you want to play it, but I'll get to that in a second. There's actually a little bit about it. I torrented the Japanese version, played through it with the help of Nick and a little bit of AJ, but then I deleted it, and then I purchased the European version. And with that said, in case you're wondering about my stance on this whole piracy thing, yes, I am fine with you trying before you buying, even if you're not playing a demo. Like, if you want to download a game to give it a try, then you delete it, then you go out and buy it. That's fine. But yeah, you know, even playing the Japanese version, it was still pretty straightforward. Actually, unlocked one of the secret characters, which is Sei in his Sagittarius armor. I saw some characters that I recognized from the Lost Canvas, which is pretty interesting. In my opinion, to be honest, because the Lost Canvas established some of these characters as being dead. Or I don't know, maybe they just passed out or something. But that's a different kind of story for another day. The game itself, I played it in English. I was able to understand it. That was pretty nice. This game seems to be pretty international in my opinion. I don't see too many. They do call the options menu Zodiac Holiday, which I don't know if that would be changed to Zodiac Vacation or something. Or I don't know, Zodiac Holiday seems fine. And of course, like when they're spelling like Valor or Color, if they ever need to spell Color, they spell it with an OU, so it's literally Valur. Or Kalur. They do that, and they also use Pegasus Meteor Fist as opposed to Meteor of Pegasus. And they also rename Cancer Death Mask to Cancer Mephisto, which I don't really know why they do that. I guess just to kind of get away from the whole death thing. Its rating is 7 and up of the Peggy thing. Like, how Japan has a Sero and America has the ESRB. Europe has Peggy. Peggy 12. If you recognize that from any trailers that you may have seen. Speaking of which, I do want to note this is actually a PAL game, so I didn't think that would matter. I thought that was just a region thing. I didn't know it actually had something to do with your TV. Like, it's not like importing a game from Japan where it's NTSC, where, it'll look fine on your TV because it's the same thing. You still have to import it, and you still have to do, like, Swap Magic to play it. But overall, it'll look fine. And I can play this European game fairly easily using Swap Magic. I just have to set the video setting to PAL. The problem is, it looks like crap on my TV because it's kind of down a little bit. Wait, actually, I have to set it to NTSC. I don't have to set it to PAL. Because that wouldn't make sense because my TV can't support PAL. So, yeah, that's a bit of a problem. It's really making me reconsider getting the European version of the PS3 Saint Seiya game, which AJ in particular really wants me to get. So, if you're listening to this, sorry, AJ, but the fact I'm worried that it's gonna, do the same thing where it almost looks like the game screen is scooted down a little bit because it's cropped at the bottom, but you can see some black at the top, almost as if like they took the image and just kind of put it down a little bit. And when I try playing it without changing the video settings to NTSC, it like turns gray. There's no audio, and the video kind of skips. It's really weird. It almost looks like a bad VHS tape. Or a little connector thing that's not plugged in properly. So it's really weird, and I have heard of an alternative to fixing it, but I haven't had the chance to try it since I went back to college, and so I moved my HD TV out of the basement and put in the SD TV, which I thought would fix some things, but it actually doesn't. It still crops. Which, that sucks, but, can't really do anything about it. I do hope to get a multi-system TV in the future, so I'm still going to play the game. Keep that in mind. Like, it's still playable, and the game itself is fun. It's really fun. It kind of feels like a Budokai game. In fact, it's made by Budokai. It plays like a Budokai game, so... Or it plays similar.